Microphone check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Ray's Minority
Ray.
Real Estate Millionaires. Welcome. We got something good for y'all today. Got something good. Now, first of all, I want everybody to turn off your video. There's only two people I want to see on here. That's me and Jesse. I want you to make sure you mute your phones and turn off your video. I see you, Brian. Turn it off. There you go. All right, we about to
Everybody to be off, man. I want to see him.
No, we gonna let you see them later. Right now, you just know that they there. All right. So I'm gonna need you to mute for a minute anyway. Sit back, put your stuff on mute, because I'm about to start this thing off. I need to do this the right way. We gotta do what we do every day that we do what we do. Let's get this party started. First of all, we got to go through some ground rules, baby. We got rules here. Mr. Ray got some rules in the Zoom room. We gonna do what we gonna do. First of all, I got to make sure everybody stays muted during the call. That way, you don't be disturbing the speakers as they speaking. Secondly, it's okay to put your comments in the comment section. You can just chat away and we won't hear a word you say. That's what we want. So be in there chatting about what's going on the video. That's all good. And then I need you to give me some feedback, baby. How we gonna make this thing better? We here to get better, to grow, to make this thing something that nobody has seen before. It's gonna be huge, baby. I'm glad everybody showed up today. We got something special for you. Got something. But before we get started, I gotta hit you with a Rayism, baby. Oh, and it's so appropriate for today. Right now, you may not know what a Rayism is. Rayism is a saying, it's something that I've read or I heard, and I just took it and made it my own, baby. Now, I don't even know who say half of these Rayisms, but all I do know is they touched me and they spoke to me, and now I'm gonna be sharing with you, baby. Gonna hit you in your earlobes, baby, every time you see me with the Rayism. So the Rayism for the day is very, very appropriate because I brought somebody in my network today. Because I'm telling you, baby, your network determines your net worth. Oh, you didn't hear what I'm saying. I'm saying the 5 people that you spend most of your time around, those are the people that are influencing you, that are giving you your ideas, that are encouraging you or not. But whatever it is, you got to know, you got to get the right people in your network, baby. And I brought one with me today. So work on your network, and then you can increase your net worth. They don't happen separately, baby. All right, let's talk about the agenda for the day. We got some good stuff going today, baby. I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Jesse B here in a minute, and we're gonna let Jesse do his thing. I haven't put no time limit on him. He can just come out and say whatever he want to say. Now, some of y'all received, in addition to the invitation, I sent you off a little attachment. Well, everybody didn't get the attachment, and so if you didn't get the attachment, don't worry about it. Jesse's going to kind of show you what he's going to be talking about today. But if you did get it, you know that we got some serious stuff on the agenda today. So I ain't going to steal his thunder. I'm going to let him tell you. And then we're going to have some time for some Q&A. Ask all the questions you want. That's how we learn, baby. We only learn as we get good answers to our questions. And then I want to take some time to recognize some graduates. We got some graduates in the house, baby, and I need to recognize them. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what's next in 2021, because we going somewhere, baby. Are you ready to go? Get on the good ship, baby. We're going to make this thing work. We're building a community of people that have one thing in mind. That is to build the kingdom of God for his glory. And in doing so, we make a little money along the way, baby. That's what I'm talking about. We making millionaires. First generation millionaires is what I'm all about making, baby. So let's talk about this. Now, if you in this picture right here, oh, you somebody. You don't get to get in this picture right here unless you know me This is my crew right here. This is my network. These are the guys that mold and make and shape me and make me who I am today, for bad and sometimes for the good, baby. But Jesse is, let me tell you now this is my dog. Now, if y'all mess with this one, you're gonna have to come see me, because these are the real OGs, and he's part of the OGs. But what he's done for me, I can't even tell y'all. But I want to tell you this man right here, impeccable integrity. Oh, he's known for the kindness of his heart. Now, I know some of y'all know him as, he's the guy at OG&E walking around with a big stick. Everybody's scared of him because he talk loud and they know what he's talking about. That's dangerous. They don't like that. But what I do know about this man is that he sincerely loved the Lord, and he knows that he's been blessed with a certain amount of talent that he's going to be able to share with you guys today. This guy right here, I'm putting him up against anybody. Huh? Oh, yeah, I will. I'm going to tell you. I'll put him up against anybody any day. There's one guy on this call right here today. I can call and say, I need 100,000. Only one guy I know on this call going to give me that if I needed it. Now, he going to ask me a few questions about it. What you going to do with it, this and that. But he going to give it to me. Because at the end of the day, that's how we roll, baby. This is my road dog right here. Now, I sent y'all out all his long, he got all this stuff he done, right? Let this man tell you how he got to be, how he got to be. He's a millionaire. Now, he's going to tell us whether or not he's a first-generation millionaire. I think he is. But let him tell you. But without further ado, I want to go ahead now and introduce to you my friend, my buddy, one of the baddest dudes that's doing the game, baby. Jesse B. Langston. Come on, let's give it up for Jesse. Come on, man, what you got for us?
Boy, you a hard act to follow. So, man, Mr. Ray. Now, in this presentation, you may hear a few Jesseisms while you at it. Okay? Just so you know, okay? One of my Jesseisms that you'll hear in this discussion is, you can't go broke taking a profit. It's real hard to go broke taking a profit.
I like that. That. I'm gonna steal that. That's gonna be. The thing about Rayism, I can just take yours and use it for mine. So I'm gonna have to take that one.
He said he gonna take my saying. So here's where I'm gonna start. Okay, I'm gonna start with, and I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna make sure I'm on point. My favorite scripture. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. That's my scripture. That's where I want to start. Okay? So I'm going to start just giving you my story so you can get to know me and the road I've been on and how I got to where I am right now. Okay? So most people know me for OG&E. I started here in Oklahoma City. And like most of you guys, I grew up in a large family and we worked a lot of jobs. I couldn't wait to get to college so I could stop working. Okay? But when I left Oklahoma State with an engineering degree, I moved to Enid, Oklahoma. I got to Enid, Oklahoma, and actually, what a blessing. Because the first thing I did was I picked up an annual report, and I looked in the annual report, and there was one thing that stood out to me, is that there were no black faces in that report. I don't know if you can hear me. So right then and there, I knew I needed a plan B. OG needs a great company. I love working there. But at the end of the day, I knew if I wanted to meet my desire of retiring on my own terms, and my goal was to retire at 50, I needed a plan B. Nothing wrong with plan A, but I had to do something different. And actually, Enid was the first introduction I had to real estate, believe it or not. I rented a 2-bedroom house from a guy named Harold Newton, old white man. He took care of all his property. I learned to find out that Harold had 87 houses in Enid. And all the time I see Harold, he had on long johns, coveralls, and he was riding on the little tractor, and he was cutting his yards, and he was collecting checks. And I walk up and ask her, I said, "What? Do you own all these houses, Harold?" He said, "Yeah." And I asked him, I said, "Well, how'd you get all these houses?" And he said, "Well, I bought them, son." I said, "What?" He said, "One at a time." And he said, "Now, if you want to buy a house, you want to grow, I'll teach you." So I work from 8 to 4:30, and they're, "Oh, Jeannie, you get off at 4:30, and it's over. You go about your business." But I used to go to Harold, and he take me to his house, and he showed me this and that, and he talked to me about buying real estate. And the first thing he talked about for me, was getting in a position to do something. So you had to put some cash up. Well, from 85, when I got to Enid, and we had a big restructuring in 87. In 88, I moved to Oklahoma City. I'd say 40 grand. Don't sound like a lot of money, but it was enough when I hit Oklahoma City to buy my first duplex rent house for cash. Okay. I paid $28,000 for two-bedroom duplexes, 2-car garages. I lived on one side, and I rented the other side for $650 a month. Straight cash. Okay. And from that day, I said, okay, I'm going to buy a house a year at a minimum. And I'm going to keep snowballing my cash up. So between that time in 1999, I had 21 houses, straight cash. I do what I call snowballing. Now, if this group is like the group I think, and just like Mr. Ray, we don't always agree on how to get something done, but we let our minds be known. And there's merit in each direction, in each thing you decide to do. There ain't no wrong answer if you get into the same spot. Maybe how you do it may be a little different. Depends on your risk tolerance. If you're more riskier, then
Jesse, somehow I'm not hearing you, man. Did you hit something?
something happened.
Okay, all right, you back now. Right?
Where did I leave off?
You back now. Keep going. You good. You just
okay.
This much.
But from
last thing I heard you said something about risk tolerance.
I had 21 houses.
Okay. Risk tolerance. Risk tolerance.
Oh, okay. Risk tolerance. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. But the point I was making is there's 100 ways to buy houses, and there's 100 ways to think about your risk tolerance. And I think understanding your risk tolerance is very, very important. Okay? You really have to, and this is another Jesseism, you have to be brutally honest with yourself about what you can do and what you can't. What you will do and what you won't. Because when you get in these deals, sometimes the backing out ain't too easy. Okay? So I went from 21 houses and I rolled up 18 of them in a package and I sold them to an investor from California. I rolled out of that and did a 1031. I know y'all heard of a 1031. And I bought a multifamily apartment complex. Okay. Now, single family housing and multifamily housing are completely different animals. And as you move from commercial real estate to multifamily to single family, you will learn the management of those properties takes a different approach, because people who live in multifamily, my example is they're akin to managing roaches. It's hard, because when I used to go to a multifamily, the first multifamily I bought had 16 units in it. And I promise you, if I showed up to fix something in one, there was 3 or 4 people who just remembered when they saw me that they needed to call me for something else. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that the management of it is completely different when you have 20 individual houses spread out to where the people don't interact with each other, and you're able to manage them individually versus managing a structure altogether. Okay. So I don't know how much conversation you guys have about when you make investments in property, how much equity you want to put in or how much debt you want to put in. Okay. So I leveraged my multifamily because I wanted to keep my cash from the sale of the houses. Okay. And I 1031 them into some other stuff. But when I bought my multifamily, okay, I only put $25,000 of my own money in, and then we went out and borrowed. And I had a partner who put his $25,000 in, so we had 50 grand of equity in an apartment complex with just 16 units. Okay, we kept that property and we sold it, and I can testify that we made almost $1 million. And we took that money and 1031'd it into my first mini storage. Now, before we get off the phone today, I'm gonna walk y'all through a mini storage asset. And it's asset that is for sale today. It's in Lawton, it's listed. And I'm gonna do that just so we can have a conversation about the things when you're looking at properties, what you should look for, what things in the numbers that should stand out to you, and how you begin to look at how you want to pay for houses, you don't want to pay for how much you get, all those things. But we'll have that conversation, okay? So in 2004, when I went into my mini storage business, I got out of my multifamily business. Okay. Now, most people, there's some people on here who know me, and all that time at OG&E, I had blessings of success. I continued to move up in the company. Okay. And so I was doing this at the same time that I was working full time at OG&E. So if you want to be successful, there ain't no mailbox money. You're gonna have to make mailbox money. You got to go cut some yards. If you know what I mean, you got to go work to put yourself in a position to have that. Okay. So I own the mini storage. Actually, 2 of them from 05 until I retired. Till after I retired. Matter of fact, I sold it in 2019. Okay. Now, you probably saying, man, you buy and sell everything. Again, if you do a cash flow and that cash flow tells you that you can make more money selling it than you can keeping it, you're supposed to sell. When you fall in love with assets, when you can't let them go, you may be stuck with them for the rest of your life. And you may not never know, you may not optimize the value of those assets because that's what they are. There are means for doing something that's more important to you to accomplish something. And for me, it was retiring early, and it was I wanted to create generational wealth for my family. And in that, throughout this whole process, there's one thing that I did every year without fail. between Christmas and New Year's, I revisited my 5-year plan and I reworked it the entire week. And I had 5 goals. You can have your goals. I had mine. I had a family goal. I had a parenting goal. I had a finance goal. I had a marriage goal. And I had a spiritual. Okay? And for me, those 5 goals helped me stay focused on the things that were important to me. And making money was really just about making sure that I was able to fulfill those things to the best of my ability. Okay? You know, my marriage is absolutely 100% important to me. And I spend time thinking about how do I continue to reinvent it to where, you know, I don't lose the best thing I ever had in my life. And for those of you who ever seen people get divorced, a half of a half of a half of a half ain't a whole lot of money. So there's a lot of reasons to stay right there where you need to be. Now, so after I retired in 2015, I wanted to continue to create wealth. I wasn't ready to sit down. I was just ready to stop working. I wanted to live life on my own terms. That was my financial goal. Okay? Live life on my own terms. And so I built go back to Ray's network. I have a network, okay, of people that I know from doing business in places that help me look at deals. And I started looking at probably anywhere between 30 to 60 to 70 deals a year, and I pick them out. So from 2015 to the day since I've retired, I have made 6 different investments in commercial businesses. 3 of them in Branson, Missouri, focused on the entertainment area. Branson is a very high profile vacation attraction for families. And I have a slice of a business there that is the largest Christmas facility in the United States. They have the largest worldwide Christmas store, for example. And if you've ever been there, you may have seen it. It's called the Grand Village. And then in Florida, in Destin, Florida, me and my wife, we own a slice. I said a slice. They sell them by the units when they do a deal. But we own 3 different investments in Destin. Destin, Florida is another major vacation spot that people go to. Okay. And there's a place down there called Sandestin Golf and Beach Resort, if you ever been. And the inside of it, they have a place called the Grand Village, not the Grand Village, but they have a big entertainment area inside of there. They have restaurants and shops. We own a slice of that. We own a slice of a strip mall that's right next to Walmart there, high traffic areas. Okay. All of those investments have a minimum return, guaranteed, preferred return of 13%. Okay. So when I look now at real estate investments, and I love real estate investments, okay, I compare those to me having to get up and change the plumbing or fix the air conditioner or meet the man out there and how much money I have at the end of the month versus a commercial investment that can give me the same risk profile and a guaranteed return, and the mailbox check comes in the same, the check comes in the same mailbox. And they're very, very close. So I've started moving a different direction. Now, I've gone back and bought some individual rent houses because I love it, and it's profitable. So we have 9 now, me and my wife. So we've kind of cherry picked our way through buying them here and there, and so we have 9. So altogether, my portfolio today, well, I almost forgot one. When I was retiring in retiring in 2015, I went to the Masters. Ray, we've been to the Masters before. You don't know what that is. That's the Masters. That is the greatest golf tournament in the world. It's lovely. And I've been there. And I was there, and my uncle lives there, and he introduced me to his network of a guy who owned a wine storage. Okay. Now, wine storage is kind of like self-storage, but it has some different facets to it. Okay. And so I invested in a wine storage. And so we started with, he had 8,000 square feet in a location north of Atlanta in a place called Buckhead. It's the richest part of Atlanta. And 6 miles from there, we started another one called Westside. And we've grown Westside to, the Westside was 12,000 square feet. And we've grown it. We got to a point to where it made more sense for us to combine them together. So we had an opportunity to lease space that's adjacent to Westside. So now we've expanded again. In 5 years, we have 26,000 square feet of wine storage. And it's not just square feet play, it's a cubic feet play. Okay. And the good part about wine storage is that when you go out and build a mini storage, you spend all your money up front building out lockers, building out garages, and people come rent them. You spent all the capital. But in a wine storage, you're in a building. And because you're in the building, customers come in and you don't have to spend money for capital until they tell you what size locker they want. So we have standard size lockers. We build you one that's 9 by 9 by 9. We could build you one that's 9 by 18 tall. We can build you one that's 10 foot by 12 foot. But we build a suit and we're basically collecting the revenue for the build out of the capital right at the time we're selling the space. So we don't have capital exposure over time and we can grow into the space. And from there, the lease payments on the building are basically fixed with an escalator. So everything we put in that's additional, it's all profit at that point in time. So to go from 8,000 square feet to 26,000 square feet, we've done really well. Okay. So, portfolio. We have 9 residential rent houses. We have 6 investment properties with a company called Centacor, the 3 in Branson, the 3 in Destin. We have the wine storage in Atlanta, Georgia. And we just sold 2 years ago the mini storages we have. And I'm not slowing down by any means, okay? But I'm gonna be very careful, methodical as I go through and look at deals. Now you need to get used to looking at multiple deals before you buy one, okay? So let's this would be a good time, I think, for people to ask me any questions about my journey, what I've done, what I haven't done, if I thought about it before, or anything like that. But I'm gonna tell you one thing is absolutely critical that I think you need to do is if you're not a goal setter, if you don't really sit down and understand your purpose for what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing, okay? Making money is one thing, but fulfilling the things that are most close to your heart, those desires, taking care of your family, serving the Lord, parenting your kids, that's why you work, okay? And when you can do those things, man, let me tell you, you need to spend time working on the goals and the things that you need to focus on to get you where you want to be. Absolutely. Okay? And then when you get in those spots where you be brutally honest with yourself about what you know, ask somebody, get you some help. Because you don't go, okay, to the doctor for the financial advice. You go to a financial advisor. The same thing here. When you need some help on something, you got a network that you're building right here. Work with them. Ask questions. Don't be scared to ask things because there ain't no stupid questions and there ain't no stupid answers. You're going to learn something one way or the other. I guarantee you. Okay? So let's do a little Q&A right here, and then we can get to the example. You want to do that, Ray? Or you want me to get to the example?
Sounds good, baby. Let's go. Open it up, baby. If you can come on in, you can show your face now when you talk, but otherwise, leave it off. Ask Jesse any questions.
I've got a question.
Shoot.
All right. First of all, thank you for presenting. Lots of good stuff. My name is Michael Emery. I would like to know, you kind of have a diverse portfolio. We don't kind of, you do. How did you determine your criteria for determining which type of investment you wanted to get into? Or do you have a specific niche that you focus on? It doesn't really seem like it, but if you do, I would like to hear what that is.
Okay, good question. I'll put it this way. You know, some people, when they're going to plant a garden, all the engineers on the phone, they go out and they make sure all the bricks are straight, and they make spots to put certain plants, and they pre-plant all this stuff out there so they know exactly what's going to happen, and they don't. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she just goes to the store and she finds what's pretty and tells me to put it in the spot. It turns out okay. So when I think about investments, first thing I'm looking for is it profitable? How do I know? Okay. Am I able to manage it? Learn? Because I'm not scared of anything new. I just don't go places that I am not knowledgeable without a lot of research. Okay. So I know how to buy houses. I know how to do cash flows. I know how to do valuations of businesses. And as I've learned them, I've just continued to build on those things. So I've added new things to my repertoire. Okay. So as you become profitable and learn new stuff, you will. Now, the one thing I never stop doing that people kind of get messed up on here is I never stop saving. See, people think I'm going to go out and invest and I don't have to save. Well, in 2002 is when I made director. In 2006 is when I made VP. From 2002 to the day I retired, I never took a raise. I got a raise, but me and my wife agreed that we would live on the same income, and everything above that we saved. I saved half of my short-term bonuses. I saved 100% of my stock. And I saved all of my salary above a certain number that I had in 2002 until I retired in 2015. So I can live life now like no one else. So while you're investing, you still need to save. So when you get to a point to where you're ready to live life on your own terms, okay, you can go live life. Because my wife, I mean, when you got a spouse, man, you got to sit down with them and talk to them about what you're trying to do, and they'll be with you. So don't think that investing by itself is going to get you where you need to go. You still got to have the discipline to save and manage your household. And for me, a cash is king. I'm a cash man. Now I can leverage up, but I am a cash man through and through, and I snowball cash. Now, if you're in debt, I can show you how to snowball your debt away. It takes some time, but once you snowball your debt away and all you got is cash, you can snowball your cash the same way, either saving it or investing it. You just got to have the discipline to do the things you're supposed to do. And I'm not saying I didn't live on rice and beans and rice. We lived a good life, but I knew my objective and what I wanted to do goes back to that 5-year plan. Every year, we marked where we were. We marked what we saved. We talked about what we were trying to do. And when I was 53, I waved bye to people. Not because I hated the place. I loved the place. But because I wanted to live and do things on my own terms for me and my family. So I could spend more time with my son, who's grown now, to help him deal with different life lessons. Okay. Now, one of the things that I hated working is there were things that I would remember different because I wasn't there. And my wife was there all the time, but sometimes I was working and I would miss those events. I don't get to miss no more. It's the best time of my life right now. Another question.
All right, let's get those questions in. And if you take 10 minutes to answer another question, we're going to be here all night. I'm going to need you to break that down to the 5-minute version, Zippy.
I can do it.
Okay, I got another question. My name is Darren Lampkin. Throughout your journey, there's a lot of trust involved. How did you know who to collaborate with?
You know, that's a good question. I'm gonna tell you that me and Ray really met for the first time working on a project together. We had both worked for the company for many, many years. And we actually didn't really know each other until we worked on a project together. And I got to see his character front and center, and he got to see mine. And over time, we built a relationship. Okay? Now, you have to work through who you call friends and who you trust. Now, I'm going to always tell you, put as little equity in a deal as you possibly can. If you have to loan the business money and have first call on your money coming back, do that. But once you put a large amount of equity in a deal, it may never come back. Okay? So if you buying an apartment for $500,000, if you can get away with, when I say little equity, low money down, 25 grand, that's the way you want to go. And if you willing to fund the business with a loan, you're better off because you get in line first to get your money back. Then you don't get no equity back. It's just I'm sorry, and your money don't come back. So, trust, work with the people you are and learn who to trust, but at the same time, invest your money in such a way that you protecting the people you care about, with the first one being you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Hey, Jesse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Hey,
James. You talked about generational wealth and passing it, to family. In what form do you see that? I mean, are you saying that I'm passing on these businesses, all these investment, or at some point you rolling that to somebody, bringing somebody in your family along to take over and manage? Or are you thinking about liquidating it to kind of cash investments at some point and letting your family go with that? Because the person that comes after you needs to know those type things.
Absolutely. So James, what I've done is, and I encourage everybody to do, is to create a trust. So you can put all your assets in the trust. And when you pass away, people cannot touch your trust. Your trust is confidential. It is private, and nobody outside of the people who you want your trustees to be can see in it. Now, my daughter, who is third year law school, okay, I am entrusting as the trustee to my trust. And I actually teach school. Now, every Christmas time, I spend a week with her going through goals, teaching her what the assets are, showing her how to run QuickBooks. So I'm actually got Jesse's MBA started for her and my son. Okay. And as soon as my grandkids get old enough, I'm going to put them in the same place. But we've created enough wealth now that just the cash that flows off of the investments is significant enough to provide them with a good life. Okay. But I want them to understand that if I walk out the door, nothing changes my desires are transparent, because when you pass away, you ain't got nothing else to say. You going home. So you better talk to your peeps before you get there to that point. Now, my wife knows what's going on, but it's my kids and those people who I want to entrust with making sure they understand that it's about their kids and their kids' kids. Because, James, when my parents died, all I got was debt. There was no generational wealth to be passed on because it wasn't created. So this is the first time in our lives we've ever had a chance to do that, and I just want to do it right. That's what I mean when I say generational wealth, is I'm building these assets not just for me, but for them too. And they're all in the trust, and they can be managed in the trust. And I have very good people who are advisors signed up in my trustee to help my daughter and son if they have questions about managing assets.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. So let's get to see if I can remember how to do this, because Ray showed me. So I sent out a presentation. I don't know who all had a chance to get it. Okay, so there's the spreadsheet.
Hey, Jesse, do you have that presentation?
There it is.
Just kind of review real quick.
Okay, can you see what's on? Can you see the?
Yeah, we see the spreadsheet.
Okay, now can you see the percent? You showed me how to do this. And,
You got to close it out and then come back into that other document.
okay. Hang on 1 second.
Don't worry about it. Just keep going. I'm gonna find it and I can put it up.
Okay. Well, let me do it this way. Can you see the spreadsheet?
Yeah, we got the spreadsheet.
Okay. So on the document, there's a for sale of a mini storage in Loudon, Oklahoma, and it is for sale for $1.2 million. Okay. The first thing that's listed on that mini storage is what they call a rent row. A rent row is simply how many units you got, what are they rent for, what size they are, and whether they're occupied or vacant, and how much money you're collecting from them.
Hey, make it bigger, make it a little bit bigger than 100% so we make sure they can see it.
Okay. Okay. Can you see the screen where it says the unit size and the rate?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, so you can see that there's 38 5x5, 66 5x10s, and 80 10x10. Okay, on down. 258 units for sale for $1.2 million. So when you roll over, you'll see how many units are unavailable. That means that the locks are broken or the door's damaged. For some reason, they can't rent them out. And then in columns J and K, that's how many of them are occupied, 215 of them, and 43 of them are vacant. So based on that, they're saying that the revenues and the costs, okay, merit $1.2 million. And so if you look over there at what I did was went through and says, okay, let's do the math. How much is the monthly rents and how much of that is the annual rents? So how much money should I see in revenue every year just based on how it's occupied? Right now, should be at $181,000. That's how much money I should be collecting. So attached to that presentation, they gave me 3 years of operating statements, operating income statements, and they gave me 3 years of balance sheet. Now, income statements you look at to find out whether the thing is cash flowing or not. Does it make money? That's the whole purpose of an income statement. It's just revenues minus expenses equals net income. Okay. And, and so if you do it before depreciation and taxes, some people call it the EBITDA. Okay. So what that really means is in an income statement, if you have a building like this is 1.3 million and you put depreciation on it, there are years you can actually make money and record a paper loss, if you're following me. Okay. So, and then the balance sheets tell you debts and equities. It says who's invested in it, how many equity people are in it, how much equity is in there, and how much debt. Did you borrow money to buy this? And if so, it should be on the balance sheet. Okay. So what I did was I went over and I'm going to change tabs. And I just took those income statements and I put it in a spreadsheet for us to talk about. And then the 2017 spreadsheet said the rental was 115,000. And then in 18, it was 116,000. Make that a little bigger. I hope you can see that. And then in 2019, it was 119,000. And then they had all the expenses, the actual expenses associated with each year. And if you look at the end of the year, for each year, the net income or the EBITDA, I'm going to say it's zero for the practical purposes. Okay. Now, what's the first thing that jumps off the page? The first thing that jumped off the page to me was I looked at the income statements and they had nothing to do with the rent roll. The rent roll said I should be making $180,000, but the operating statement said it was only 115, 116, 118. I said, something wrong. Somebody hiding the monkey somewhere. Okay. Now, when you are evaluating properties like this, okay, there's a term in the industry called the cap rate. Okay. Cap rate is used to determine value of property, whether it's a convenience store, whether it's a mini storage. You take your net income before taxes and depreciation, EBITDA, and you divide it by a cap rate, which for example, in the mini storage area, the cap rates are around 6%, could be up to 8%. Now, if you're a seller, you want your cap rate to be low. If you're a buyer, you want your cap rate to be high. Okay? Because when you do the math, it'll tell you what it's worth. So I took the EBITDA on line 33 for each one of those years and divided by 6%, and you can see that the value never approaches, don't even sniff 1.2 million. Okay? So I thought, wow, shoot, let me see something here. So I went in and I said, well, okay, so if I bought this property, and let's just say I made a great deal. I mean, I made such a great deal that I have a little amortization schedule right next to you that I use this all the time. But I just say, what if I Jew them down $1 million and then I put 20% down, $200,000, and I finance $800,000. I'm thinking, well, shoot, that'll make me a little bit better. Well, so I go back to my cash flows and I added a line in there, and you can see the highlighted $71,000. That's the mortgage payment you just signed up for. And let's just say the place made what it did the year before. So in 2021, it made at least what it made in 2019. And so and when I go to the bottom, I even cleaned up some stuff. I took some cost out. I said, well, I can eliminate these fees and I can get rid of this waste and I can make this flat and I can do this and then I can trim this up a little bit. Well, I'm still losing money. Okay? Because now I've added $70,000 worth of mortgage statements and I got no more revenue than it was when I bought it. So I thought, well, maybe they just got the revenue run because the rent roll said it was 180. So now I'm gonna put $180,000 in there. And miraculously, it showed up from somewhere. And I'm gonna go to the bottom. Oh, and guess what? It looks just like it did in 2007. I mean, 17, 18, 19. This is a dog. This thing is probably worth, let's just do a little math. Go back to the amortization schedule. And let's just drop the price to $500,000. 20% down. I had to finance $400,000. Now I got $36,000 payment if my math is correct in here. And so now you're gonna make $30,000 a year, okay, with a new payment of 35. So $30,000 a year. And if you think about that, if you invested 100,000 and you made 30, that's about 30% return. Now it ain't getting so bad. So you can play with this spreadsheet now to understand where you could be. I think this property is worth somewhere between $500,000 and $700,000, depending on how much you put down, to get a reasonable return of 15, 20%. Okay. So the lesson I'm trying to teach you here is there's no substitute for running cash flows on any project. I don't care what it is. You run a cash flow. You figure out the revenues and expenses and the net income. Don't let nobody fake you out about adding in depreciation, adding back and taxes and all that stuff and what you're gonna save on taxes. I just rather pay the taxes and make money. Okay. That's where I'm at. You can be wherever you want to be, but I'd rather pay the taxes and make money. Okay. And then you have to come up with your own threshold for how much risk you want to take. Okay. Now, if you look in here, they have a payroll of, on average, the last 3 years, $75,000. Now, I don't know who they're paying, but to run a mini store, it's really more like, I say 25. Now, this is the minimum wage job, and it ain't that complicated. It's just opening garage doors, renting it, filling out books, and then most of the book work could be kept by you back in your house. Okay, because I've done this. I had a couple good people. They lived on the storage area. I gave them a free place to stay, and I gave them a stipend each month for cash, but they ran the place. The stipend, honest to God, the stipend was $500 a month, and they had a free place to stay. So for them, it was a raise. But for me, it was a salary of about $6,000 a year. So if you had to pay somebody, it should never be 74, 75. I'm going to guess that this person paid them. This is the mom and pop. There's no debt on this balance sheet. This is their one chance to sell and retire. And they paid themselves a profit of $75,000 a year. And it made the income statement come out to zero each year so they can try to minimize the taxes. That's what happened. Okay. So let's talk about the spreadsheet. Let's open it back up.
All right, let's talk about any questions y'all got for Jesse. Let's hear them.
Has anybody ever done one of these before?
I have it.
Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back. I hope y'all follow me through all that.
Yeah, man, we following you. I mean, man, this stuff is mind-boggling because you're doing it at a level, I'm down here at the real estate, at the single family home level, and man, it's another
Okay,
different.
so let's just think about lessons learned, right? If you was buying a house, just like you were buying a mini storage, you need to build a cash flow. Okay. Now, your revenue in terms of buying rent houses is just the rent you collect. The expenses is your operating cost. You have to estimate what you think your repairs are going to be. You have to estimate if you have homeowners dues or anything else that comes out of there. But at the end, you get an EBITDA. You get a net income number. And you have to ask yourself, is that net income number worth me investing in this property? It's no different than a mini storage. It's just a smaller investment and doesn't have as many moving parts.
All right, hit Jesse up with some questions, y'all. I think they scared. Don't be scared. There are no dumb questions. Come on now. I know y'all got some questions.
Hey,
I'm gonna let
Jesse.
him go.
Now listen, Jesse,
Yeah.
the deals that you have found, you got a variety of things. You told us about being with your uncle on the wine storage deal. Where are you? Are you out actively looking, or are you just feeling your way? If something shows up, you run across something, you look at it. Or are you actively looking now?
I'm at a stage now, James, where a lot of deals come to me. Okay. Because once you get in a network and you start investing, like with different people, they'll call you because they know you're in this game and they'll bring you deals to look at. Now, early on, I had to go find deals. I had to go look at tax properties. I had to go look at bankruptcies. I had to go talk to other realtors. I had to go, matter of fact, I got kindred spirit with 2 or 3 realtors and asked them to constantly look for properties for me to look at. So at the very beginning of your investment career, you have to hustle to find properties. But once you mature and you start meeting your network and it gets bigger and you're doing deals, you're going to be surprised when people say, hey, I know a guy who buys houses who may be interested in that. His name's James Chapel. And you're going to start getting those phone calls. That's what happens. And deals start to find you. Okay.
I think the thing that I've learned tonight is that you probably ought to do your own numbers.
You got to.
On your own, on every deal.
You got to. You can't trust. You got to. At the end of every deal, if you don't know how much money you're supposed to make on the day you close and the day you open, if you don't know how much money you're supposed to make that next month, you failed.
I agree.
And I can promise you, Ray has never bought a property that he didn't know how much money he was making the next day after it closed.
I don't fall in love with them homes, baby. I fall in love with them numbers.
You guys don't even know how many discussions, I'm gonna call them discussions to be kind, that Ray and I had over buying debt free and leveraging. Okay. I believe in both. Okay. But boy, we've had some really wildcat discussions about that. I've even built spreadsheets to the effect and send them back and forth and we talk about it. But all you're doing is learning. And that's what this network's for. Is when you guys get a project, you got to pass it around to each other and talk about what you ought to do. Because don't nobody want to see any of y'all fail. You just want to be successful.
You also mentioned that you had partnered with someone on a deal. Are you kind of on your own now? You and your wife or your family? It's all family?
When I bought an apartment complex, my partner was natural. He was the builder of my personal home. And he built properties. So he got on the lookout and he brought me the multifamily that we bought. And so he was I was the numbers guy, and I collected the rent, and I ran the finances, and then anything that needed to be fixed that was heavy lifted, he did it. So that was the relationship. Now, the wine store, I'm a partner in, and I run the financials from Oklahoma, and my partner does the operations. He runs the day-to-day operations of making the wine stores work. It includes renting lockers, storing, moving wine, etc. Okay, so that's our relationship. And I go down every quarter, and we go through the rent roll. Okay, because I count to make sure that every locker actually has somebody in it, and then my books don't tell me something different than what my actual inspections does. So my man earlier asked about trust. I trust, but I verify. When I go to Atlanta, I walk and count every lock on every locker, and we have keys to them. So I even do spot inspections to make sure that what's in the locker matches the books, and our revenues and expenses are what they're supposed to be, and I know exactly where the money's going.
So Jesse, so are those partnerships 50-50?
No, they're not.
What are your partnerships? What's your percentage?
So when I got in the wine storage business, okay, this gentleman, my partner, he owned 100% of the wine storage business. So okay. He wanted to sell me some equity shares.
Okay.
But we also wanted to start a new one. Okay. So we basically kept the LLC separate. We started the new one. I got in the equity. I got in for a cheaper amount of equity in the original one because I agreed to finance the second one in the function of a loan.
Okay.
Because he didn't have the cash to expand, and he's been looking for somebody to expand. Okay. So I actually got a larger equity share in number 2 than I did in number 1.
Okay.
Okay. So I mean, every deal is just a little different. You just look and see where your advantages are and what makes sense, and you try to leverage those positions to get as much as you can out of those deals. And that's what we did. So when we merged them, okay, it's not 50-50. He has a little bit more equity than I do, but my cash flows are significant, okay, because I negotiated some things in the agreement that guarantees my dividends regardless of how well the thing performs.
Okay.
Okay. And then also every year, the company writes me a check for the interest I charge on the loan that the company has.
Right. Yeah.
I've got another question.
Yo.
When you were on the edge of turning from this is something I'm interested in, something I want to do, to okay, now I'm serious, what was either the biggest obstacle you had to overcome, or the biggest challenge you had in making that transfer?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I can't express how much I value the relationship with my wife. Okay, she is not a risk taker at all. Okay, I mean, none whatsoever. So as I began to buy houses, and I got her to commit to understanding what I was trying to do, keeping her on board. Okay, especially when you take a large sum of money and you pay off a house. You know, she would never question me. She trusted me along the way. Okay, and when I asked her to help me retire at 50 and not take any raises, she managed the house on a fixed income the same amount of money from 2002 to 2015. And she didn't have to. She agreed to, because she understood what our family wanted to do. And to this day now, she says, I couldn't see what you saw, Jesse, but I'm with you. And so turning the corner internally for me was more important than any external obstacle that I ever faced, because I was never scared. Okay. And a lot of people don't know me, that I have had blessings from people at OG&E, particularly the CEO of the company, who really shepherded me and helped teach me how to buy assets. Okay. You know, the first asset I bought at OG&E was $400 million. I was scared. Okay. But I had a mentor. I had somebody who helped me understand the ins and outs, and actually it was acceptable to how I looked at things differently than others. And so at OG&E, I probably bought and sold in excess of $2.5 billion in my career. Okay. Power plants, wind farms, you name it. And so all of those skills that I rolled up, I applied it in my personal life. Reading contracts, just learning the ins and outs of risk, you know. And I guarantee you, the more you do, the more deals you look at, the more you see, the better you'll get. The better you'll get. I guarantee you, the more you do. That's why you gotta look at a lot of deals. You can't think that when you walk in the room, and this is the quote from the CEO at the time to me when he made me VP. His quote was, I knew you was ready when you walked away from a bad deal. Okay. So every deal ain't a good deal. You got to look at them, find out whether they're good or not, walk away after not. Because, boy, I tell you, it's hard to get rid of a bad deal. Nobody wants that dog. Okay. So just don't put yourself in that position. Don't be so enamored to buy a house that you do it wrong. Make sure, do the numbers, ask somebody, get a mentor, ask him questions before you buy. And if that deal goes away before you're able to buy it, it wasn't meant for you anyway. You just got to trust that God had a hand on that. That's what you got to do.
All right. What's the next question? We're gonna take a couple more, and then I'm gonna let Jesse wrap it up. And we're getting about an hour. I know and some of y'all falling asleep out there, so we gotta keep it moving. A few more questions, couple more questions. We're gonna move on.
Hey, Jesse, go back to that spreadsheet, that income statement.
Okay.
The cash flow.
You want me to open it back up?
No, not really. When you were going over it, I was going to make sure when you was talking about the rent roll and you came back to get your income, your net income at the top there. I don't see the spreadsheet, but anyway, wouldn't that be the first thing that would almost not be a deal maker for me right there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But see, it's the first thing that jumped off the page at me was
right.
When the operating statement revenues didn't match the rent roll. Right. I'm going. Somebody hiding the monkey.
Right.
There's either somebody lying about how many of those things are rented, okay, or somebody didn't record the income.
True.
You with me?
Yep.
Yep.
I agree on that.
But that's the whole purpose of when you take those numbers and you put them in your own spreadsheet and run them and look at them, they'll start to show up.
Right.
But if you just look at somebody else's work and go, yeah, that's profitable, I promise you, you're going the wrong way.
So they get that deal. Did somebody get that deal in Lawton?
I don't know. It's still for sale.
Might stay for sale.
It might. You know what, though? You'd be surprised how many of them get sold. People in business that sell real estate.
True.
And it may not go for 1.2, maybe it go for $1 million. It's still a bad deal. It ain't a good deal to me until it's somewhere between 5 and 700.
Then you might jump on it, huh?
Well, you know, I actually looked at that deal for a friend of mine, going back to that network. Yes, he was interested in it. And when I showed him what I saw, he said, I'm either going to pass. I said, go back and ask him some questions. So he asking questions right now.
All righty.
I have a question. So where exactly, I might have missed it, did you get that information to have to evaluate and keep for yourself?
You talking about on that example we did?
Yes.
So that example is an actual, it was actually sent to me from a good friend who they sent it to him because they thought he was interested in buying that property. So when you're selling a property like that, you have to show financials and you have to show a rent roll. Okay, because nobody's going to offer you money until they have seen evidence of how much profit there is in that business.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. This
Yes,
is
ma'am.
Christina. I know you talked about having mentors and things like that. Did you find mentors for each niche that you decided to go into, like the storage unit and stuff along the way? And what made you decide to make the switch?
Every deal, sometimes I may have talked to somebody different, but in general, I got to where I was doing the majority of my own work. And I have some friends that are, I would take spreadsheets and send it to them and says, what do you see? Here's what I see. Okay. When I bought my first apartment complex, I used the realtor that I hired to help me through it. Okay. But as I've grown and I run more spreadsheets myself, okay, then I'm using those realtors and other people for different information because they become knowledgeable about not just the real estate itself, but the area and the competitive information. For example, like on that property in Lawton, before I move on it, the first thing I would ask is, within a 15-mile radius, how many other mini storages are there? What's my competition look like, for example? And then I say, oh, within 30 miles of it, how many mini storages are there and what rates are they charging? So go get me some comps of mini storages that look just like this so I can know how much money they're making and how much competition I got. So if there's a new mini storage built in the last couple of years, then I know why those numbers in that spreadsheet are flat. It's because all the new business is going to the new place. For example, you see what I'm saying? So you use the expertise you find for whatever you need, whether it's competitive data, whether it's market data. If you can ask yourself a question or curious about something, find somebody who can answer it. Just don't say, I don't know nothing about that. Maybe that's not an important question. I'm just going to rely on the numbers I got. Reach out and make a new friend.
Hey, Jesse, this is Kevin. Hey, what about the time horizon? You're looking into some of your investment opportunities. How do you factor in the time horizon on whether you're going to be profitable or not, or how long it typically takes for you to get to profitability?
So it's dependent on what kind of investment you're in. Now, when I did the wine storage, okay, I looked at, so we had one and we started a second one. So when we started the second one, basically on day one, it had no customers, okay? So we had to create a marketing campaign to try to pre-subscribe people to sign up for this new wine storage before we had it built out. And then we had to estimate how long it was going to take us to get to break even.
Right.
So in the second wine storage, it actually took us right at 24 months to get net income positive. in the second wine unit. Okay.
Sure.
So in the first one, though, was already cash flowing. So we used the cash flows from the first one to help cover our outflow of cash in the second one. And the money out loan, the second one, was what kept the operations going.
Starting Monday. We come about, okay, let's set up a meeting for Friday.
It could be that busy.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he is.
Were you tracking me?
Yeah, no, I'll follow you, Jesse. Yeah, I'll follow you. Yeah.
But each one of them may be a little different. But in general, Kevin, I generally don't buy businesses or rent houses, okay, that don't cash flow right away. There are investments I stay away from. I don't buy empty lots or land, me personally, because empty lots don't generate cash. You get paid when somebody buys it from you, but you got to pay taxes and et cetera on that lot and mow it and keep it up. And I don't know how long. So those kind of investments, I just don't do. But other people do.
Right.
It's whatever they like to do. I just don't do those.
Sure.
But for me, you know, I'll walk in and look at a rent house. I know how it may take me 6 months to go through, fix some sheetrock, change the carpet, redo the floors, you know, fix up the outside. I know what that operating cost is going to be, and I factor that into my overall determination of whether I buy it and how much I pay for it.
Okay, very good. Yeah, thanks, Jesse.
Hey, Ray,
Yes, sir.
before Jesse gets off, I want to give a shout out to the electrical engineering profession as a whole.
You can always count on Jess, man.
Even if they ain't from Arkansas,
All right, man. I think I'm losing some people. That we're gonna wrap it up. Jesse, I want you to wrap it up. Just give us a few words as we wrap it up, and then I'm gonna go into the next little session.
Okay. So I'm going to try to encourage you to do a couple of things. One is, if you don't have goals around this business or your personal goals, you really ought to get some, and then make it a point at the same time, maybe you to sit down and evaluate how you're doing. And you'll be surprised how encouraging it is if you're making progress, and how it will kick you in the pants if you're not. So I'm encouraging you to do that. There's the other thing I encourage you to do. If you have a wife or a partner or maid or whatever, engage them. You know, find out what is it they want and make a partner out of them. I mean, I think you can only be successful if you do that. And I think you can avoid train wrecks down the road. As you start to do this, it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, you know, you got to keep your communications open to where you're making progress. Now, so and then closing, I'll give you a couple of Jesseisms. Whatever you do, don't sacrifice understanding for speed. Don't get in such a hurry that to get a deal done that you really don't fundamentally understand the deal itself, how much you're making, what you're sacrificing, what you're leveraging in a hurry to get there. Just don't do it when you find yourself in a place you don't want to be. And then the last Jesseism is the work is more important. The work is more important than the title. It don't matter what they call you. If the work that you're doing is so important to you because you understand what it means, that right there is fundamental to you being successful, because you get up for all the right reasons. You don't get up just to be rich, okay? You get up because you know every day that you are successful, you're taking care of the things you care about the most. And that's really it. So I hope you guys have got something out of this. It's been fun. And so we'll go from there. Ray, I appreciate you inviting me. And I hope I accomplished what you wanted to accomplish.
Big dog, you showed out, baby. You went exceedingly abundantly and above all expectations, man. Oh, you know, sometimes they need to hear from somebody different than me. You know, oh, Mr. Ray, he always running his mouth, you know, but when they hear from somebody like you, baby, they all on it. They swallowing it hook, line, and sinker. You brought it today, baby. I really appreciate you, man, just taking the time to come out and to share and to put your wisdom and your knowledge and your understanding into these young people, man. And the goal is you was hitting them, baby. All the ones I've been hitting. I'm talking about generational wealth, baby. I'm talking about know them numbers. I'm talking about them cash flows. I'm all them, you hit them, baby. You just verified and testified about everything I've been telling them. So, man, you know you, my dog. If we didn't have some knockdown, drag down, because we like to fight about the numbers. I love the numbers. He loved the numbers. He loved his numbers. Hey, they all numbers, baby, at the end of the day. But what we have learned, the older we've got, people, it ain't all about the money, baby. No. It's about that family. It's about your faith. It's about loving those that are around you while you got them, baby. We're not playing games here, baby. This is real life. We trying to change generations. And I just want to thank you again, man, for stopping by. Oh, we're going to bring you back. We're gonna bring you back because we got to get some more of that wisdom, man. But I appreciate you. You know I love you, man. And
you got time for one more Jesseism?
Go ahead, man. Give him one.
So, you know how much money do you have when you start? So what's the definition of wealth? That's the question.
Okay, what's the definition?
Is how much money you got when you ain't working.
That's what I like that. I like that. Yeah, when you making money when you sleep.
That's what I think everybody on this phone call is trying to do.
Yeah. We ain't trying to work hard for the money, baby. OG&E was good. You said it. I love him, 36 years, but I ain't trying to do that all the rest of my life till I'm 90-something. I want my money to work for me. And that's what you showed them today. Oh, you got so many different avenues. Right now, I'm just teaching them real estate, but you talking about wine store, you talking about entertainment, you talking about all kind of exotic stuff. You talking about guaranteed money, baby. Guaranteed. I love it, man. I love it. Let me go on and share a couple of things with y'all. I'm gonna close this thing out here so we can go on home. I know we've been doing this for a minute here. Let me see if I can get this thing back up here so we can get going. All right, let's where's my, all right. All right, I'm about to get it right here. Hold on, I got it. All right, we good? Everybody see that?
Yes.
All right, introducing JB. All right, so I want to take a moment right now. We've been going at this for a few months now, and I want to take a moment to say congratulations to some recent graduates of minority real estate millionaires and minority real estate investors. So I want to take a moment to say we had a foundations class that we just went through 8 weeks, baby. They went through 8 weeks of training foundation on minority real estate investors, baby. Laura, let's give it up for Polly. Give it up for Kendra. Dawn is in the house. Brittany made it through. Andrew, man, these are the foundation, the newest members of the minority real estate millionaires, baby. They made it through the foundations class. Now, we also had another group of people that made their way somehow through Mr. Ray's advanced series class. So look at all the people that we got going through the advanced. So we've completed one foundations class. We've completed now an advanced class, baby. Now we going on to the next stage. Are you going to be on this journey with us, right? Are you going to be on this journey? So in January, we're starting over again, baby. We're going to start the foundation series over again. We're going to go through 8 modules. We're going to say, why are we making minority Millionaires. And then we're going to talk about the 5 ways that you get paid. Oh, and Jesse already talked about it. You got to set them goals, baby. And so we want to spend a whole module on setting goals. And then we got to analyze. Look at all the spreadsheets Jesse brought us today talking about analyzation. We got to do some analyzation, baby. And we're going to do that in the foundation series. And then you got to figure out how you going to find some deals. Where the deals at, Mr. Ray? Tell us where the deals. I'm going to tell you if you sign up for the class. And then you got to get some tenants in there that's going to pay your bills for you. That's the name of the game, baby. You don't want to pay the bills. You want them tenants to pay the bills for you. But you got to get the right tenants in there. If you get some in there tearing up your stuff, it ain't going to be good for you, baby. Ain't going to be good. And then you got to manage the business. The business of managing your business. Know your numbers. Pay your bills. Make sure you got insurance. Make sure you got to know how to manage the business, baby. And then when you graduate from the foundation class, I'm going to take you on to the advanced series. And we're going to again find out now, how do we finance these deals, Mr. Ray? How do you find, oh, you want to be a wholesaler? Mr. Ray going to show you how to wholesale that property, baby. Oh, you want to be a flipper? You in love with a flipper? Come on. I'm going to teach you how to flip them. And then we're going to buy some foreclosures. We're going to teach you how to minimize your taxes. You got a little insurance you got to pay. All those expenses, they eat up all that revenue that you've been bringing in. And then I'm going to show you how to build a real estate portfolio in just 5 years, baby. You can be building generational wealth in 5 years if you start today. And then we got to inspect them things, baby. You got to make sure you're not just buying some trash, although we do buy trash. We redevelop it and we make it worth something, baby. But you got to know what you're looking for. And then you got to manage these contractors going to be knocking on the doors and knocking windows out and cleaning out all of your property and making it ready to get it on the market so people can buy that rent, baby. Oh, but now we got to go to the next generation. We're going to be introducing the premier model. Yeah, we're still going to have the foundation. We're still going to do the advanced, but we're going to step it up to another level, baby. We got to find out how we find, how we hire, and how we fire them bad contractors, baby. We're not playing with it. We got to figure out. Now, me, myself, I manage all my property, but maybe you don't have you too sensitive. You can't deal with people. I'm going to teach you how to hire a management company, baby. And how you going to get funded, Mr. Ray, for that first property? I got something for you, baby. We're going to make that happen for you. How do you create a real estate investment plan, Mr. Ray? I got that for you too. And then finally, how do you manage all of this stuff for profitability? Oh, we going somewhere, baby. And you know what? I got something else in line for the premieres. Oh, we're going to do some stuff this year. We're going to get ready for the Oklahoma tax sale that's going to be taking place in June of this year. Oh, I'm going to teach you how to do it because that's how I got in the game. My first 5 properties I bought from tax lien sale. Now they do a little different today, but I'm going to show you. I figured out a way how we can mine the data, baby, and make sure we get the right seller and we get the right offer, huh? Oh, I'm going to teach you some scripts on what you say when you make contact to the seller. You got to know what you say, baby, because you can scare them away with all them crazy questions you be asking. And then how do you negotiate? Jesse B. Langston is the best negotiator I ever seen on this earth. This boy can talk you out of your shoes. Oh, it ain't worth that. Oh, it is. Then he'll tell you how it ain't worth it. Then he'll break it down that you ain't never going to be able to outdeal him. So I'm going to teach you how to negotiate and get that maximum allowable offer that you're going to make sure you're going to make money. And then how you do the quick title search and eliminate problems and potentials when you buying a property that you got to make sure you got the right seller at the table or you be all messed up. So we got the classes starting in January, baby. We're gonna be doing the foundations class on January the 4th, 7 p.m. I'm gonna be sending out the videos. You're gonna look at them, and then we're gonna go over them together. We're gonna do that for 30 minutes, and then right after that, at 7:30, we're gonna go right into the advanced model, baby, and we're gonna learn some advanced features. And then on Thursdays, I'll get ready for the premiere, because that's where the money gonna be made. We gonna start doing some deals. I'm telling you, we about to change this game, baby, for the glory of God. I was thinking today when I was meditating, the Lord was showing me how, you know, these kids, these students are nothing but bricks for you to build a kingdom. Yeah, these students, they're nothing but soldiers in the army of the Lord. And you're going to teach them, and you're going to grow them, and you're going to show them, if you do things the right way and you do it according to his will, oh, you can't help but get blessed. You don't know what you're hearing today, boy. We talking about powerful stuff. When you line your will up with his will, oh, you got power, baby. You got power. So I'm not gonna go through all this right here. We're gonna sign this thing out, but make sure you check me out on social media. I need you to go. All of these are on their social media, baby. I'm putting it all on the YouTube every day. Every one of these is taped. Now, they're not going to be taped anymore because I'm going underground, baby. We taking it underground. Only those that are going to be in the place are going to see what's happening. But check me out on YouTube. Go out there, follow me, like me. They tell me you can make money on that. So I need y'all to help me make a little money. Go follow it, brother. Put some likes on there. Check me out on Instagram. Everything is Mr. Ray's Real Estate, baby. We blowing this thing up. Oh, I wish y'all could go along with me. We're going somewhere. Well, we got, looking at the clock on the wall, I'm hungry. I know y'all hungry too. Jesse B. Langston, man, I thank you again. Thank you for all of our visitors. We love to have you for the rest of this month. It's going to be free. So if you're interested in being a part of what we're going to be doing, I'm still setting the agenda for next year. If you want to be a part, just hear what we're doing the rest of this year, just let me know. I'll make sure I send you an invitation. Well, with all that being said and done, let us end this thing. I don't want to end it, but we got to end it somehow. And I just want to thank you again for being here and being a part of what's happening. Minority Real Estate Millionaires, baby. We are making history, and we are making millionaires, but for the kingdom of God. Y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you later.